Hey everybody, it's Katie. Today we are going to talk about stranger danger and the way we are preparing our preteen to deal with things that she might face in regards to stranger danger. There are many dangers that we as parents are responsible for preparing our kids to deal with. As they get older, they're going to face a lot of different things. There's getting lost, dealing with strangers, household chemicals, how to deal with cars in the street, pets, dogs, guns, knives, drugs. You name it. There's lots of different things that we work with our kids as they get older and older and older, how to deal with them when they come into contact with this type of situation. And today, I want to talk specifically about how we are working with our very outgoing 7-year-old daughter in terms of stranger danger. I realize that strangers are often not the worst thing that our kids might come in contact. I realize that a lot of times when bad things happen to children, it's at the hands of people that know them and that your kid is familiar with. So while I understand and that's a different video, today's topic is just going to specifically be in dealing with strangers. I want to first say that as much as possible, my husband and I want to avoid using fear tactics to scare them into acting a certain way. Our goal is mostly that they understand, instead of us scaring them into something, is that they understand what we're trying to tell them, and they comprehend the issue. So we spend enough time talking with them and explaining different things in different scenarios and maybe showing pictures, that it's not out of fear that they're doing things, because I don't know that that's the smartest way to go about it. Now, are we going to tell them things that might freak them out? Maybe, but that's not the goal, is you scare the crap out of them so they'll never want to leave the house. That's not the point. So following up right behind that is we're teaching them, we're quizzing them on things, and we're role-playing with them. I feel like role-playing is actually really important because it gives them the words that they might not have before, and it also it makes their brain think of a certain situation that maybe if you're talking, they haven't actually really thought about it. Whereas if you're at the store and you're like, okay, pretend I'm not here, what would you do? Explain your steps to me. Or, what happens if we're not around and this happens? What would you do? And ask them to tell you the steps. Or what would you do if an adult said this to you? How would you respond? And that type of thing. Because I feel like it gets their brain actually into that scenario more than just talking at them. Okay, so safety issue number 1, what happens if they get lost out there in the world among the strangers? The first thing, I feel like, actually the first 2 things that we started doing with our daughter at a really young age is we started teaching her our phone number and our home address. And we definitely went through a stage where she told a lot of people our phone number and our home address. In fact, I think the people at our local grocery store, they knew my address for a while there because she talked about it. But that's okay, because now that she's a little bit older, she doesn't do that anymore, but she also knows my phone number and she knows where we live. So that is reassuring to me that she knows that. If my oldest gets lost out there in the world among strangers, the next thing is we are teaching her who is a safe stranger to approach. If she's afraid and she's alone, who does she go to? Because I don't want her to just go to anybody, because I feel like there are a handful of people out there that will inherently be safer than some others in the world. And so some of those that we're teaching her to go to would, of course, be a police officer. But the likelihood of her seeing a cop just standing there when she's lost is not high, same as a fireman. But here are a few others. Store employees, a mama with a kid, teachers, or our family and friends. And this is our oldest. So I wanted to ask her what she would do if she was lost. We'll see what she says. If you and me got separated or you were lost, who would be a safe person that you could talk to?
I could talk to a mom with 99 kids if possible, or if 2 or 3 or any kids.
Yeah, if she had any amount of kids, that a mama with kids would probably be pretty safe. Yeah, I think so too. Anybody else?
Well, we could talk to like a police or a ranger.
A ranger.
If I'm getting separated into like a forest.
Yeah.
Or if he's like studying in the forest. Or if he needs to like fight a fire if there's a forest fire.
That's true. That would be good. So the next question is, if she's lost out in the world, where would you go and what would that look like? In the store, you would go to the checkout or you would find an employee. And that's something we'll talk about a little bit later too, is how to recognize an employee. If you were on a playground or if she were on a playground, where would she go if she looked around and she couldn't find me? And again, probably revert back to find a mama with kids. Another place would be an airport. Wouldn't that be just about the most horrible thing ever? Losing your kid in an airport. We were at the SeaTac airport about a month ago and I had that thought of like, oh my gosh, this would be like the worst place ever. But again, go to a gate, find someone in a uniform. That could help you. And then last, of course, is if you are lost and you don't know where to go and you're not sure who to talk to, help them understand and help them figure out in a panicked moment who to remember, who are the people who are safe. And like in a public place, a uniform is a really good thing to teach them. So when we go to Target or when you go to a bigger grocery store, or if you're at a museum or a library, like how to just show them, to point out people like, this is where this person sits, that's a librarian, or this person is wearing, do you see that she's wearing a red shirt and tan pants, and those are employees. So, each place we go, we're talking about this is an employee, or like a name tag, helping them understand who's safe. Safety issue number 2 would be actually talking to strangers and interacting with strangers. Now, I obviously want my daughters to know who is safe. Not everybody's a stranger. I want them to know that the people that are in our family or our neighbors who are our really good friends, or friends of, her little schoolmates, people that we know as well, those are not technically considered strangers. They're people that we know, and they're typically safe to talk to. Other people that are safe would be parents of your friends, like I said, her schoolmates. Those parents, typically safe. Teachers, typically safe. The principal, those are safe people. Those are not considered strangers. Now, one thing that we have told our oldest, because she loves to talk to people and she loves to interact with people, and I'm pretty sure she got that from her mother, not her father. We've always told her, ever since she was little, because we noticed like she's super outgoing, we would tell her, like, it's okay to talk to strangers if you have one of us with you, if your mom or dad is with you, or if you're with your grandparents or your uncle. If you're with a safe family person, it's okay to talk to strangers as long as they're next to you and they're with you. Or, what we've done more recently is said, if you want to talk to someone, let us know first, so you don't just run off and start talking to random people. Because for the most part, I want her to be able to talk to anybody she wants to talk to. There are some circumstances, though, where I don't want her to approach a person. And that's just something that, as an adult, you kind of know, like, okay, maybe we shouldn't approach that person over there. But, she'll talk to just about anybody, and she has. Safety issue number 3 is a password. Now, I hope that my girls won't ever have to use this, but this is something that I had when I was a kid. And I remember with great delight picking the password out with my brother. And I think that it's probably safe now that I can divulge our password. Are you ready? Hydrophobia. My brother and I were like, awesome. Do you know that means rabies? We were super excited about that. And we would like whisper it to each other and giggle. So that was our secret password. And it's just something really random that probably nobody would ever guess. And so we are in the process of working on a secret password that we will use and we'll teach to our youngest as she gets older. I was reading an article about a little girl who was approached at a school by some people that she kind of knew, and they said, hey, something happened to whatever family member, they told us to come and get you. And fortunately, she had parents who had worked with her on this, because she said, well, what's the secret password? And they drove off. And so I hope that they don't ever have to use that, but we're going to have it because that's just one extra layer of protection. Number 4 is public bathrooms. What does that look like? Obviously, I'm typically with my daughters, and for now, in this age where they are 7 and almost 3, they don't go into the bathroom alone. I go with them, partially because they need help and partially just because I don't want them in the bathroom alone. If my husband has our daughters, he typically takes them into, if there's a family bathroom, that's always his go-to. But if he's with them or with my oldest, he will usually take her into the men's room, into a stall, put about 14 layers of toilet paper, and then set her on the little throne and then carry her out. But he doesn't let her go alone. As she gets older, it'll be one of those situations where he will stand out right outside the door, and knowing him, probably with his foot in the door listening, just in case there's any shenanigans in the bathroom. But that's one of those things that we're just, because honestly, you never know. You don't ever know who's in the bathroom, and that's another place where we just want to make sure that we have someone with them or that we're close by. The last part about the bathrooms is obviously don't accept help from strangers. Now, as she gets older, the likelihood of her needing help from a stranger because of a bathroom issue is unlikely. However, again, just the safest bet is not to ask for help. Fortunately, though, like I said, I'm usually with them. Safety issue number 5 is having kids home alone. Now, obviously, I just mentioned that my daughters are 7 and almost 3, so they're just a wee bit young for me to be leaving them home alone, despite how much that would be amazing to go grocery shopping alone. They don't want to be home alone yet. They're not ready for it. It's all good. But as we get to that age and to that time where I could leave my oldest home alone, we will obviously need to have a game plan for if someone knocks at the door. What do you do? Obviously, number 1, don't ever open the door to anybody when you're home alone. And number 2, and this is something actually that my parents taught me, is that if somebody came to the door, if you could say, who is it through the door? And then they say so-and-so, or your parents home. It was either my mom's taking a nap, or my parents are taking a nap, or my mom's not able to come to the door, or they're in the shower or something like that. It was never insinuate that you're home alone. And we'll do the same thing, is we'll teach her something to say that sounds like we're home, and then obviously just teach her, don't open the door for anybody, even if you know them, because that goes back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the video, which is sometimes the people that you know could be a danger to you. So that kind of goes back there, but we're not there yet, but we do have a plan for when it comes, but thankfully that's one less thing I have to worry about right now. I hope you guys found this helpful. If you know someone who has kiddos about this age and is kind of doing the same thing, and you think it might be helpful to them, I'd be honored if you would consider sharing it. Also, if you have any ideas that you want to throw in the comments, that would be awesome. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're always open for ideas and helping keep our kiddos safe. We have a Facebook page. If you haven't joined us there, we'd love to hear from you. And also, if you'd like to be a subscriber, you can click on the subscribe link and join the KT Files family. We put out videos pretty frequently. Love to have you join us. I hope you guys are doing really well. Have a good day. Bye.